Hi, welcome back to the Spirit's Path. This is Dee, and today's tarot card of the day out of the Wildwood Tarot deck is the Hooded Man. And I'm very excited with this card coming up. Okay, today, the meaning behind this card is about that inner stillness and looking at, what's going on inside you, right? But yesterday we talked a lot about that guardian and facing your fears, walking through that tunnel. So as you're walking through this tunnel with the guardian behind you, the fox is following you, you see this light. And the light is getting closer to you instead of you getting closer to the light. And you kind of have that furrowed brow, like that question, like, what is going on here, right? And it's the hooded man coming to greet you, to show you the light through the tunnel, all right, that the guardian was blocking you on. And, that's how spirit works, okay? When you least expect it, spirit, is always with you. But, boom, it's here. It's here to help guide you along this path of facing your fears, of going through this tunnel, all right? And he's got the staff, and he's got the light, and he's also got the staff to help, guide you as you're moving through. He says, here, take my elbow. I know the way forward. And you're looking at it going, this is awesome. Now as you're facing your fears, you have somebody that's facing them with you. Okay, and most of those fears are driven within yourself. All right, but that bright light just takes that darkness away. As soon as that light comes up to you and you see who this is, the hooded man, you relax. Those fears have just disappeared in the light that he's got. And as you continue to walk, through that cave and through that path, you don't even think about the fears. You're having this great light conversation with the hooded man, all right? And he's letting you know of the opportunity that's ahead of you, the wisdom that's going to be there. And, yes, things may be in this wintry landscape, cold and barren, but at the same time, you don't have to, take on that aspect of being cold and barren. You can have a lot of heat and warmth within, that joy within, right? Even going back to the radiance from the Nine of Vessels in the generosity. In the fox, he's just dancing around both of you guys. What's the opportunity you're seizing? Well, the opportunity is to grant some time with the hooded man. And reflect on the journey that you're going through. Reflect on the experience, okay? And just take it all in, okay? Because he's going to be giving you some subtle reminders of how your spiritual and nourishment is going. And as you're drinking in, this nourishment, you can hear the flapping of a wing. And here's this little wren. As he brings the light up, you can see this wren sitting on his shoulder. Here it's on a rock, which is telling me that, stability and security there. But this wren is sitting on the hooded man's shoulder as you're walking through this cave. Now the wren is the page of arrows. And this page is just giving him a message, possibly, of, what's ahead. To look at thinking, to look at your, how you think about things, right? When somebody comes up to you and says, hey, you got I got some good news and bad news. What do you want to hear first? I always look at it and say, give me the bad news, because the good news is going to be better than the bad news. And I'm going to have a little bit different perspective of what that, what it all entails. Well, the good news, the bad news is, you got a flat tire. The good news is we can get it fixed in an hour. Versus, it's going to take 4 days to get this flat tire fixed. Now all you're thinking about is getting that flat tire fixed. Instead of, I can get this fixed within an hour. It's a difference in thinking, right? And that's what that wren offers you, okay? And it's just giving you a different perspective on how you use that knowledge and how you use that wisdom. When the hooded man shows up, it gives you that rebirth moment internally to think about those dark recesses that the guardian was trying to get to face those fears, to not having to, be smart enough, wise enough, and have the knowledge in how to handle situations that you don't want to be put in. And then look at the macrocosmic experience of, is it the needs of the few or the needs of the many? Do you want to be remembered for this incident, or do you not have them even have an incident, right? Of running into somebody in a parking lot or something like that, and you don't ever want to meet that person, right? So during this time of reflection and wisdom and knowledge, you're talking with the hooded man about those fears. You're talking about the things that go bumping at night, the things that you don't want to face. Somewhere down the line, the universe is going to put you in a situation. And it's how you handle that situation where the universe and spirit is going to let you move on. But if you have that awareness, okay, thanks to the wren and the hooded man, and you're looking within, and you know who you are, then avoid those situations. Withdraw, rest. Don't put into the drama of it. Don't give it any energy, right? Just absorb the journey that you're on. Because the more you reflect and understand who you are internally, and what your soul's purpose is, and what your mission is in life, Spirit's going to guide you to, whatever that is, that fate and destiny that we talked about here 3 weeks ago with the wheel. You can control that. You can control what's moving forward, just based on the choices that you make. It's either waiting an hour on that flat tire, or it's, I've got a flat tire, what am I going to do? It's a different perspective in how you're looking at it. And the hooded man's going to say, what's so scary about it? Well, you can start going down that Guardian road. Oh, how am I going to get to work? How am I going to, drive around town? How am I going to do this? And he's like, the hooded man's just going to look at it and say, have you ever thought about walking? Have you ever thought about riding a bike to get to work until you can get this fixed? And it gives you that inner perspective, right? It opens you up to spirit and to the universe to say, yeah, I don't have to rely on this vehicle. There are other ways that I can, other things that I can do to get to work. If it's a financial ability, well, I need to go to work, save a few bucks, get the tire changed. And then once I get the tire changed, everything's back to normal. So, once you understand that, and you understand, like I said, understand who you are and what the universe has for you, what spirit has for you, they're going to show you the signs. All right? And part of that sign is we're walking through this cave. After we face the guardian, is that light of hope that the hooded man is holding for you. Because that light shines bright within you, shines bright within that hooded man. And right now, he's lighting your way to, when you walk out of that cave, to continue that transition that that's down here 5 days ago. And this, the opportunity you're seizing from that fox is you're still walking on your path, that path forward to spiritual enlightenment, to, becoming, more of their higher self, and just moving forward on your path, helping others along the way, but also gaining that wisdom and knowledge of what the life lessons card, has to teach you. So that's today's card of the day out of the Wildwood Tarot deck, the Hooded Man. Hit that like button for me, subscribe to the channel, share with others, give me a thumbs up. And this is D for A Spirit's Path. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care, God bless, and stay safe, everybody.